CJ here with KLRE. I am here with Brandy S. Skonseng. I just learned how you say it. I was been saying it wrong the whole entire time, but it is pronounced Skonseng.
Yes.
Okay, I'm excited to see where this goes. But let's start with Brandy. Where are you from?
I'm actually from Isani. Grew up
Born and raised?
Yep.
Okay.
Born and raised in Isani. Got a sister and a brother. My sister is 12 years older than me. I was not a planned child at all, but I'm the funnest of them all.
Okay. Explain to this. I grew up in Fridley, but Cambridge, Isani, two different cities?
Yes.
One school?
So in Isani,
Yeah.
the elementary and the middle school are two totally different schools, but the high school, Isani, merges with Cambridge because we just didn't have a huge class to have a high school by ourselves.
Okay. And
So lots of farmland, for sure. You couldn't just jump on your bike and bike over to your friend's house. You either had to jump.
so bikes, not horses?
Nope.
Okay, that I learned something that's new to me too.
And this is back in the day when we had three-wheelers, not four-wheelers, three-wheelers.
I'll have to Google that later. Maybe we'll put a picture on that.
You will.
Okay.
You will. It's like a four-wheeler, only it has three wheels.
I imagined that would be the case. So grew up in Cambridge.
Isani.
Isani. Did you go to Cambridge Isani High School, or where did you go to school?
I went to school in Isani, and then the high school was Cambridge Isani.
Okay. All right. And then talk about what was your first job?
And my first job actually was at a fast food place.
Which
so in high school, I actually worked at Burger King, and I worked at Hardee's.
Okay.
So I had two jobs in high school. My plan in life was to be a millionaire. So that was my plan. So I worked two jobs in high school, saved every last cent that I could because my goal was to go to college, and I knew that my mom and dad just didn't have the funds to send me to college. So I knew that was on me. So I worked two jobs all the way through, didn't have much time off, saved everything I had and put myself through college.
Let's go back there. So do you recall why was that the plan, like be a millionaire? Do you remember how that started?
Yes, because I came from a small town and I just didn't want to stay in that small town. I wanted to branch out. I wanted to live. Back in the day, I always called it the big city. So I wanted to live in the big city,
which is the Twin Cities.
Yep.
Not St. Cloud. I just want to verify that people.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So that was my goal. It was just when you grow up, you either like growing up in the country or you hate growing up in the country. And for me, waiting for mom or dad to get home to either bring us to our friend's house in the wintertime or, making sure that mom and dad had gas in the three-wheeler, the ATV, I just didn't like it.
Was this were they farming? Was it a farming community?
It is. It was back then. Yes.
What was the produce? I don't even know how I'm asking the question. Right? What did you farm?
Well, lots of corn. Lots of corn. Yep.
Okay.
So if you go up, I don't know how far north you've been on 65.
Blaine, that's probably as far north as I go.
We need to go on a road trip.
I'm just kidding.
Yes.
Further north than Blaine.
You got farm fields. You've got fields that have cows in it, cattle. Yes.
Okay, so working two jobs. Goal is to get to the cities. So after Cambridge, Isani, what was the next season of life for you? So
after I graduated high school early. So I did start college early. So I was 17 sitting in college classes.
Hold on 1 second. Graduated early because you skipped a grade? Did you do post-secondary? Or?
Nope. I graduated early because I had enough credits. Okay. And my choice was either you can take the second half of the year off or you can go to college.
Okay.
So what I did is I jumped right in feet first because I want things and I want them now. It's us women, we want stuff right now. So I jumped right in.
So 17 in college.
Yep.
Where was that?
Anoka Ramsey.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was an eye-opening experience. I thought I was going to be in there with everybody my own age, and not the case. There were some people in there my own age, but There's a lot of people in your 30s.
So what was the goal of that, to kind of get your generals and then go somewhere else? Or what
So
was
that's
the
what my
plan at
goal
that
was,
point?
is yes, just to get my 2-year underneath my belt and then to branch on after that. My original goal was to become a lawyer.
Okay.
Was what my goal was, because everybody said I had a knack for arguing.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't like a vision. It was more like, you argue a lot. You should be a lawyer.
Actually, you know what? Everybody said, there was quite a few people that said I would never make it to be a lawyer. So I was
Okay.
out to prove them wrong.
Okay. So Anoka Ramsey, you wrapped that up. And then what was the next part of your story?
So graduated, got my 2-year degree from Anoka Ramsey. Got all of that done. Bought my first house when I was 20. Still had a serious relationship. I was engaged.
Where'd you buy your house?
Coon Rapids.
Okay.
So to me, that was the city.
Slowly moving towards
moving
the
down.
city. Okay.
Yep, slowly moving down. My fiance at the time said, I'm not leaving Cambridge Isani. So again, being the strong-willed person I am, I'm like, well, I'm out. I'll see you later. You stay here. I'm moving down to Coon Rapids, and obviously he followed.
Okay.
So I bought my first house when I was 20.
At this time, were you working?
Yep.
Where at?
So at this point, I had left Burger King, and I actually started a job at Crosstown Sign as a receptionist.
Okay. Well, where was that at?
That was in Ham Lake.
Ham Lake. And what did
It was right next to this is probably going to date me as well. It's right next to the drive-in movie theater.
I'll have to Google that as well. Like, okay, put that on the list.
Yeah.
3-wheeler and
Blaine had a drive-in movie
drive-in.
theater.
Okay. How long did you work there?
Gosh, I would say I probably worked there 3-4 years.
I'm already seeing a theme, and that's why I love these interviews, just to see how the path to where you are is shaped, and how your success is tied to kind of your drive back then. The fact that you're going to college at 17, that you're working. I'm just excited to hear a little bit more about what happened after Coon Rapids and that job. But I'm already seeing a strong theme of working hard. Did you see that modeled for you, or kind of think back about growing up? Where did you see that or not see that, and where did you get that drive that early on?
Boy, I would probably say the drive came from probably some family members telling you can't do that. You're never going to be able to do that. You're never going to succeed in that. And I just had that sense of watch me.
That and I love that that's not the most positive way to be motivated, but
Right.
I think it illuminates that some people that are listening might be in that space where you're not, encouraged. It's actually what motivates you is proving other people wrong, or what motivates you is that someone said you couldn't. Whereas some people's story, it's, hey, no, because I saw my parents working really hard. I understood how to do that, and I saw it, and I think that's really unique, and I think that leads to success. And so sometimes people use what you just said as motivation. They use it as an excuse.
Right.
Oh, I'm a failure. Why? Because someone told me that I could never do it, and here I can't do it.
Yeah.
But you're able to take that and turn it into something that leads to success. So after,
don't get me wrong. My mom and dad worked every single day.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just every time somebody would say I can't do something, you took about 3 steps back, and then you're like, time out, wait a minute. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to prove you wrong.
Can you think of a time, like what gave you that posture to flip it?
Just probably seeing so many family members and friends staying put and not branching out, not doing, you'd hear people talk about what they wanted to do, but never did it. And I don't know when it finally clicked. It just clicked in the aspect of, what do you got to lose?
Yeah.
I mean, if I try this and it doesn't work, what do I got to lose? I would rather say I tried it, it didn't work, than be sitting here saying, wow, I should have done that. What would have happened if I would have? Where would I be? That's what I guess I mean, I failed at a lot of things, failed at tons of things.
Yeah.
But at least I can say I tried.
Yeah, and that's sounds like you have a healthy relationship with failure, and that's a good thing. If failure leads to growth, you failed in the right direction. I think that's a huge piece of your story. And so talk a little bit more about from Coon Rapids and this new job at Crosstown Signs, and then what was the next part of your story?
So probably the next part of my story is, I ended up getting married, wanted kids right away, ended up having one child, which was a very stressful pregnancy, delivery. We almost lost him. So I said, you know what, not going down that road again. I've got one, I got the perfect kid. When you have a child and they stop breathing and you see them in the NICU, under lights, in the incubator, tubes coming out of them, wires. You pray every single day.
Yeah.
And I just prayed that, you know what, if you pull him through this, I will give him the best that I can, the best childhood I can. And he did.
You said it was a tough pregnancy, or was it a tough
it
delivery?
Was. Yep. The last trimester I was really sick, got really sick. He came early because I was so sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that part. What I know, having 3 kids of my own now, is that it's a lot more difficult than they make it look like on TV.
Yes.
And there's a lot more things that happen. And so I just thank you for, I'm sure there's a lot of people that can connect with that. And so thanks for sharing that. So it sounds like that was a huge kind of a turning point in your purpose, would you say?
Sure. Yeah, I would say absolutely. Just the whole, your pregnancy when you bring a child into the world is supposed to be, like you said, exciting, all those good feelings, and just when you get sick and you go in and, everything starts going downhill, and, the whole C-section, being rushed in, him being rushed out, it just, for me, and I'll admit, I'm a huge baby. It was traumatizing. And I'm not, and I get the next child could have been completely different. I just didn't want to take that risk.
No, that's fair. And I kind of thinking, let's stick with that part of your life. What would you say is the biggest takeaway if you're reliving that right now as you retell the story, kind of looking back at that now where you are?
What would be the biggest takeaway?
Yeah, or what's the significance of that now for you?
Well, that's a tough question. The significance for me would just be I can look at him every day, and even if I'm having the worst day, the crappiest day, I can look at him and go, I did something right.
That's
I got
huge.
you here. I got you here. He's stubborn, and he gives me a run for my money every single day. Yeah. And he's 20, but you sit back and you're like, I wouldn't trade this for the world.
Yeah.
And my kid always comes first. Always comes first. You can ask anybody that's known me for years. He will always come first. I will never put him second.
It's awesome to hear. And I, working 20 plus years with young people, I wish all parents would say that about their kids. And so I think you're right. That's something that you're doing well and you're doing right. And so hang your hat on that. That's great. So after you having, what's your son's name? Tyler. So after having Tyler, you're still living in Coon Rapids. Were you still working at Crosstown Signs?
I was. Okay. Yep. So worked at Crosstown Signs. So when he was about 9 months old, we moved to a single family house in Andover.
Okay.
And then I want to say probably when he was 3 is when I took the jump into real estate, because I thought real estate was going to be easy. You could do this on your own time. Figured I could take him out of daycare. I could have my whole day with him. We could go to the park. We could play. Life would be great. I'd still make money. Yeah, I wish somebody would have just...
Did you know a realtor?
You know what? I did. And it was my sister.
And it sounds like she was living this lavish life.
Yeah, she made it look really easy. She made it look really easy. So yeah, I wish you'd have maybe. And when I went through my classes, it was hush hush. It was on the down low. Nobody knew. My sister didn't know. The way that she found out She was actually at our house one day. My husband was working on a vehicle with her boyfriend or something, and something slipped. And because I took classes in the weekends, and she ended up calling the school Kaplan, and just saying, "I want to make sure that my assistant's enrolled. Can you tell me if her name's on the list?" And of course, they told her.
So she was like investigating you.
Yep.
Why?
Because that's just her. She has to know everything.
Okay.
She's 12 years older than me.
Okay, so she's just keeping tabs on you.
Oh, yes.
So you go through, I'm doing the math. If your son's 20 and you started this when he was 3, so you've been in real estate for 17 years?
18 years.
18 straight. Mm-hmm. Okay, and so where did you start? Talk about that transition from...
So at that point, I had left Crosstown Sign. I was now working at United Electric as a project manager. Mm-hmm. I want to say he was probably, you know what? We had to back up because when he was born, I was already at United. So I was at United Electric. Mm-hmm. He came. I think I got my license in November, and by March is when I pulled the plug and said, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it. I'm jumping feet first, all in. Here we go.
Okay, and then where did you start doing real estate?
I actually started with RE/MAX.
Okay.
So I was at RE/MAX as an independent agent, pounding the pavement, opening the phone book. That's when we had a thing called floor duty, where you had your specific time, and you'd come in, and anybody that would call in needing an agent, you would automatically get that lead because it was floor duty.
Yeah.
So you had to be, this is back in the day where you had to be in a physical building to take a phone call. Oh, yes.
Right? You couldn't be in a car. Yep. For all the younger people listening, like there was a time where phones were attached to walls and had buttons.
And we didn't have GPS systems. We had the map book.
Oh, yeah. You had to
You opened up the map book.
There's a piece of paper that had a little line, and you had to take a highlighter and be like, hey, here's where I'm driving.
You bet.
All those youngsters out there just know you got it good. Quit complaining. Okay.
Exactly.
So, RE/MAX, what part of the cities were you doing this?
Coon Rapids.
Had you made it to the cities yet? No, you're still in Coon Rapids.
I have not. The furthest I made it would be Coon Rapids.
Okay. And then did you find out you enjoyed real estate, or like you said, you didn't have as much time? You're not at the park every day like you thought you'd be. Like, so what about real estate kept you in it?
Well, I would say I kind of, instead of being home with him every day, I kind of did a 180. Yeah. So I was dropping him off at daycare and focusing fully on my business because we didn't have a team. I didn't have a team. I didn't know anybody. Mm-hmm. Everybody in my family was already using my sister, so I literally had to start from scratch. So the first year I was in it, I worked a ton, a lot. My very, very first year, made $70,000. Thought it was rich.
That was a lot more than Burger King.
Yes.
Right? You're like, I'm on my way.
Yeah, you thought I was rich. So yeah, I just put my nose to the grindstone when I completely stepped out of United Electric in March.
Let's go back there, though. Do you remember back then how many transactions that was to get $70,000? Back
then, I want to say it was probably 15, 16.
Okay.
Yep. 15, 16 transactions.
So year one, you're like, I can do it. Mm-hmm. 70,000. And you're
I was the new agent in that building amongst a lot of veteran agents. And that's when I fully understood that we're back in high school because rumor mills started. Everyone wanted to know how I was making it, how I was doing this, because I went from the bullpen, is what we called it.
The floor.
It was a big room, and then you had like cubicles.
Okay.
And that's where you would go, you would sit, you would make your phone calls. We called, back in the day, we called it a bullpen.
Okay.
And so I graduated from the bullpen to a private office.
Ooh.
Right across from the receptionist desk. Now, mind you, this office sat empty for 7 months. Nobody wanted this office. So I worked a deal out with my broker, moved all my stuff into this office, and then the rumors started.
Uh-oh. This might turn into Real Housewives of Coon Rapids real quick.
Oh, my God. Yeah, it
So,
was
What
not good. Not good.
Without sharing names, like I just want to kind of know a little bit more about the real estate drama in that office. What do you mean? What happened?
Well, because I was new, brand new.
Yeah.
So nobody believed that a brand new agent could come in and just start cleaning house. So the rumor started with I was sleeping with a certain individual because I'm getting all this. I got this office that nobody wanted until Brandy moved into it. Got this office, and then it was, the office is right across from the front desk, so all the calls are going directly to her. It was a nightmare.
But it was really, truly, you just working hard. Mm-hmm. How did you respond to that? How long did you stay there, or what?
How did I respond to it?
Yeah.
I went up to my broker, and in tears, I'm like, you got to fix this. Like, I don't need this drama. Like,
Yeah.
Help me out.
You're being punished for being successful.
I'm like, what is going on here? I just want to come in. I want to have fun. I want to work. I want to do what everybody else is doing.
And how did your broker respond?
He laughed at me.
Like in a good way? I mean,
He sat across from me, laughed at me, and he said, "Welcome to real estate."
Okay, so then you're like, okay, this is great. Not how I expected it,
So I'm like,
and not how I want it.
I left that room, and I thought to myself, you know what? You're a joke, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
You guys can start whatever rumors you want. I'm going to keep my head down. I'm going to stay focused, and I'm going to kick all your guys' asses.
So you stayed. You didn't leave.
Nope, did not leave. Because I knew that, again, if I left, I knew that they won. Mm-hmm. And then I was right back to what happened when I was a kid. You can't do this. You can't do that.
Yeah.
You're never going to make it. So I wasn't going to
How long did you stay there?
I was with RE/MAX Results my whole entire real estate career until I teamed up with Chris.
Okay. Let's kind of move that way, because it sounds like you were successful early on. And I mean, it wasn't encouraging what other people were saying, but in that season of doing real estate for that long, what did you enjoy about it? What did you like about it?
I liked the fact that it was always something different. It was never the same thing every single day. Mm-hmm. Not to talk down about United Electric or anything, but with United Electric, you were going into a company, you did the same thing every single day. Mm-hmm. With real estate, it's always something different. You're always meeting different people. You're in different circumstances. You're helping somebody with the biggest decision of their life most of the time. Mm-hmm. I'm a huge sucker for kids. So when I walk into a house and they have kids, I'm like, I don't so much gravitate towards the animals. I'm like, where are the kids? Where are they? And I'm talking to the kids. So that's the part that I love. Is it's always something different. Is your schedule flexible? It can be. It certainly can be. Is it demanding? Yes. Do you have to have extremely thick skin in this business? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But it's rewarding, as you see.
Yep. What it's allowed me to do is it's allowed me to set my kid up for the ultimate success. And when I say that, it's allowed me to buy a timeshare, which has allowed me to bring my mom to Hawaii, which she's always talked about, but has never been able to go. Is able to buy that timeshare, bring her to Hawaii, her ultimate dream, bring her back to Florida. We had a family vacation in Florida, bring her back there to relive that. Mm-hmm. So would I have been able to buy that timeshare? Maybe not. But now that I've got that timeshare and now that I've been able to buy another one, something happens to me, that timeshare, that deed transfers over to my kid. Mm-hmm. So my kid essentially will only have to pay airfare for the trips for the rest of his life. Yeah. To me, that's what it's all about.
It sounds like you just have a very clear vision of what you want to do. I think that's helpful for a lot of people if they don't have that, or if they're not aiming to, set up their kids for success. Sometimes they just kind of flounder or kind of get through life without having that. It sounds like that's a very clear thing of, hey, he's set up for life. Yeah. Here are the things, and I just want to just commend that. I think a lot of times people quit because they're not happy doing their thing. They've lost focus of the why. Mm-hmm. It sounds like you haven't lost focus of that why.
Yep.
How did you get connected to Chris?
So back at RE/MAX, I actually had a friend that was also an agent, Cara. we were in my office one day just kind of, I don't know exactly what we were doing, figuring out goals or whatever it was. And she joined Chris's team because she got scared that she wasn't going to make it. We had an award ceremony.
So you had known Chris prior to?
Nope.
Oh, you hadn't at all?
Nope.
Okay.
Then we had an award ceremony. We sat at the same table because I was still an independent agent. So we sat at the same table. I was going to bring Cara home that night. Chris sat at that same table. We left. Cara kept hammering on me. You got to join the team. You got to join the team. I'm like, no way. You're crazy. I don't want to join the team. I want to do my own thing. I don't want to answer to anybody. And literally the next day, Chris called me. Said, hey, I was talking to Cara. She said that maybe you'd be interested in joining the team. He's like, I'd love to sit down and talk to you.
And you're like, she's lying, because I was like, no.
But I go, well, maybe I'd be open to a conversation. I go, what does your week look like next week? And it's like Wednesday. He's like, no. He's like, what do you got going on today? I'm like, today? I'm like, it's 3:30. Like, I'm going home. I don't know, going home to watch Dr. Phil. I don't know. He's like, no, let's meet today. So that's how Chris is. Today. So caved and went and met with him. We chatted. We left there, went back and forth a few different times. And then finally I just like, you know what? I'll just take this leap. And I was very upfront and honest with him. I said, here's the deal. I'm going to do this for a year. If this doesn't work, I want to shake hands and cut ties and still be friends. And I also want to be upfront and honest with you. My kid comes first. Yeah. So whatever leads are coming in, they're never going to be put in front of my kid. And he's like, okay.
So at that point, though, you weren't looking for a change?
Nope. I was tired. Yeah. I was tired because as an independent agent, you literally are doing everything yourself.
So that was the value add to join the team is, okay, maybe I'll get some of my time back. Some of my energy back.
Not only just get my time back, just get rid of some of those hats. I didn't have to turn in the closing worksheet. I didn't have to turn the file in. I didn't have to do the advertising. I didn't have to pay for the advertising. Didn't have to pay for copies anymore. It was that. Yeah. That's what I was looking for as this could be a nice break. Just a break of let's recoup, let's not be shelling out tons of money every month on advertising and
yeah, and so you were with Chris at previous brokerage, Remax, and then talk about the transition to join him at KLRE.
Well, we kind of always knew he was going to branch off at some point. And then he just pulled the plug and branched off, which was a tough decision for me. And, if anybody that talks to him, he'll tell you, like, it took me probably about a week to decide that, okay, you know what? Yep, I'm going to follow you, see where this goes. Yeah. But that's all I've ever known. All I've ever known is Remax. I've never jumped ship, never said, oh, okay, the grass is greener on the other side.
It sounds like you just did your thing.
Did my thing, and when recruiters would call, because they always call, and talk great things and this, that, and the other thing, well, it's one thing to talk to them. I need to go to the agents that were there, left, and that are there and still there and go, what do you like? What do you don't like? What happened? Yeah. So I'm the type of person that I need to make sure that all my I's are dotted and my T's are crossed before I make a sudden jump.
Yeah, and I think that's a smart, it's a smart pathway to making decisions.
Some people would say it's because I don't like change, but
I think a calculated risk is always smarter than just jumping and not asking questions. But there are some people that are the risk takers, and emotions aren't bad. But when that's the only thing that leads us, that's sometimes when we get ourselves in trouble. But you've followed Chris, part of KLRE. It sounds like success follows you, but it follows you because you do the hard work. Right. What I have heard too, just the common theme of whether it's growing up or at Remax when they're telling you can't do it, or it's not a very motivating environment to be in, but you thrive in that, which is huge. That's a huge leadership quality when people can take things that typically people fold over, but you flourish from it instead of folding.
I just stay in my own lane and watch my own bobber, and
what you're here, and you're doing well here. Why KLRE for you?
Well, I can tell you why KLRE is because we're the official sponsor of the Minnesota Wild.
Oh, okay, there you go.
And I'm a huge hockey fan.
Okay, yay, yay sports.
Are you not a sports person?
I am a sports person. Confession, I'm from Minnesota. Don't take this the wrong way, but I'm not a huge hockey fan.
We're done. What's happening?
No, I mean, it's cool. I like winter coats. Okay, go on. Well, so KLRE, Minnesota Wild. So that's part of the reason why you're still here.
That's a huge part of the reason.
Yeah.
Another big reason is, for me, I'm just loyal. I'm loyal to people. If you're loyal to me, I'm loyal to you. And I feel like Chris has always had my back. He's always stood up for me. He's loyal to me. Treats me good. Treats my family good. Treats my kid good. You treat my kid good, you're in.
So you've known Chris a lot longer than most people. Yep. Without getting this podcast canceled, what can you tell us about Chris that is really something that you've seen is consistent, or something that most people wouldn't know this about him, but share that. What do you know about him?
I can tell you that he genuinely cares, but I think everybody knows that.
Not everyone, but you see it on a different level because you've known him before the billboards, and you've known him since the billboards. I mean,
right. And I don't hang out with him every single day. I know him, but I don't know. I would just say that he's just a genuine person. Like what he says, if he says something to you, if he says, I'm going to do A, B, and C, he's going to do A, B, and C. And I've been at other brokerages that say, okay, I'll do A, B, and C. And they do A, and they don't do B and C. You come into a conflict, and they walk away from you. Mm-hmm. Where Chris will go, hey, what's happening? What happened? What's the story? And he'll go to bat for you. So to me, being with another broker, and actually being with two, because I started at Associates Plus, they sold out to Results.
Okay.
My first broker kind of hung me out to dry
on
a situation, and that left a bad taste in my mouth.
Okay.
So with Chris, not only does he say it, he actually backs it up. And for me, that's huge.
That is huge. And I think that's a leadership thing, and I think that's something worth noting. Mm-hmm. Is that, and he says a lot of things. And so it's good to know that he is a man of his word, and that someone like you that's been with him as long as you have can vouch for that. Let's think. There's a lot of newer agents, and you've been successful in that in this field. What do you know now that you wish you knew when you got started? What can you pass on to some of the newer agents right now?
What I wish somebody would have told me when I first started is, don't ever put your family in the back seat. Don't get so busy chasing real estate and selling homes that your family falls by the wayside. I wish somebody would have told me that, because my first 2.5 years in the business, I did nothing but put my nose to the grindstone, built my business, took off, missed a lot of important moments in my kid's life that I'm never going to get back. Yeah, I'm never going to get that back.
I
and
love
for what? A commission check? It's not worth it.
No, and I love that you share that, because I know that there's a lot of people that have kids, and I think there's a lot of things people can learn from that. Are there tangible ways or tools or tricks that you've used to keep your family in that focus?
I would say the only tip or trick that I have is, if I have dinner plans with my kid, or if I have Saturday afternoon plans with them and something else comes up, I take control of my calendar. I say, nope, I'm sorry, I can't do that. I can do this or this or this time. I never will sacrifice that time with him, ever.
So take control of your calendar.
Well, take control of your calendar for sure.
Yeah.
Don't ever think, okay, I'll miss this event, but I'll do the next one, or I'll be there next week, or be there the week after. At the end of the day, you don't know that you're going to get that.
Yeah.
I tell my kid all the time, and I tell people all the time, I could be driving down the road today, Somebody could pull out in front of me, could get into a car accident, I could roll I could, you just don't know. I mean, when your time's up, your time's up. And I think the same thing, you know, my kid could be driving down the road and a drunk driver could be on the road at the same time and he could be taken away. Mm-hmm. So I will never, and I wish somebody would have told me that, I will never sacrifice another birthday. I will never sacrifice another sporting event. It's off the table. And have I lost business from it? Probably. But at the end of the day, I've also learned if I would have took that business, it wouldn't have been a good transaction because you're going to have resentment. And I just don't want to live that way.
I think that's a valuable lesson. And you've proven to be a successful agent and a great mom. And I want to just commend you for that because I think you are modeling what a lot of people want to embody, success in their business as well as success as a parent. And so I'd say keep it up. And the one thing that I've kind of gathered through this conversation is that you know how to take things like failure or what people are saying and turn that into motivation. And so there are a couple of things that just a takeaway for me is just really get focused on the things that matter. Mm-hmm. I mean, it sounds like you're focused on the right things, which is family first and then success. And then you have very clear benchmarks of success. Oh, I'm going to take my mom here. I've got a timeshare, got 2 timeshares. I think when people are grabbing for success and they can't define it as tangible as you have, they get successful and then they're still not satisfied.
Right.
And so I just want to thank you for your time. Thank you for just the wisdom that you shared. And I know that there are people that are going to take something from what you said and be better leaders, be better agents, be better people from it. So
I always just look at it too as fast as it was given to you, it can be taken away. So I just always try to stay humble, try to stay in my own lane, watch my own bobber, as Chris would say. And I just tune out the white noise. Because if you start paying attention to what everybody else is doing, it messes with your head.
It's true, and I just I'm not a fisherman, so I like that image. Like, pay attention to your own bobber. I might just start using that. I'm just going to pay attention to my own bobber.
But you know what though? If you start paying attention to your own stuff, and not what everybody, because when you start watching what everybody else is doing, and you start worrying about what everybody else is doing, now it's messing with your head, and it's taken away from what you really should be focusing on. And what I want to focus on is what am I going to do next? What vacation am I going to go on? Mm-hmm. You know, how can I help my kid? That's what I want to stay focused on. I don't want to be focused on everybody else over here.
Yeah.
Because everybody else doesn't pay my mortgage. And
that is, I think, the key point of leadership and success is self-awareness and self-love and focus on who you are. And that's the best way to show for others is to show for yourself. So thank you, Brandy. Thank you for your time. Excited to see what you do in the coming months, but keep being successful.
Awesome. Thank you.